Video game movies are currently going through their golden age. What with the Mario movie making tons of money at the box office, the Sonic movies doing pretty well with critics, and the Minecraft movie making tons of money, it's safe to say video game movies are here to stay and are in bigger demand than ever before. But then that begs the question, what kind of video game movies are we going to see in the future? Well, I can't really predict what we're most likely going to see. I do want to make my own wish list of the stuff I would personally like to see on the big screen. These aren't ones that are guaranteed to come across at any point, just more like ones I'd hope to see. A Shadow the Hedgehog film feels more like an inevitability than just a fun prediction that came out of nowhere. I mean, look at the series that precedes it. All three of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies that have come out in the last 5 years have done extremely well. They're often some of the biggest and most beloved video game movies you can find out there. So of course you're gonna do a Shadow the Hedgehog spin-off. Shadow the Hedgehog was literally in the last one and played by Keanu Reeves. You think they're gonna just do that as a one-off and never bring it up again? No, they're definitely gonna make a Shadow the Hedgehog film. It's more a matter of when are they gonna do it than if they're ever gonna do it. Now, what do I want to see in a Shadow the Hedgehog film? I don't know. Honestly don't know. Honestly couldn't care what the hell they put in a film. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as it's good, I'll watch it and I'll praise it for all it's worth. But in terms of actually what I want to see, how they could do anything. I mean, they could make it about Shadow working as a barista in New Guinea and I'll pay good money to watch that. At the end of the day, it's a matter of how good they tell a story rather than the stuff they add into it. I mean, the last few Sonic movies have deviated quite a bit from the source material. Now, they definitely pay a lot of good homage to it, but there's certainly a lot of stuff that's not in the games that I think still works pretty well under the film context. So, if anything, if they change up Shadow's story in this movie, like let's say they want to adapt elements from his video games but change it up, I would be all open for it. At the end of the day, as long as it's good and as long as it contains the spirit of the games, I'm gonna be okay with it. Out of all the films I would like to see get adapted, I feel like Kirby would make the most sense. After all, Kirby is quite a recognizable franchise that appeals to families all around. So turning him into a movie, I feel like makes the most sense. In terms of what I would want to see in a Kirby movie, well, for one, it should be animated. I feel like that's a given the nature of the franchise. In terms of the studio who should produce it, if this actually was to happen, it would probably be done by Illumination. For those who don't know, those are the guys responsible for the Minion movies, as well as the guys who made the last Mario movie. So if they were the ones responsible for a Kirby movie, honestly, I wouldn't be too disappointed. I feel like they would be decent at capturing the whimsy and fantastical landscape of the Kirby franchise, as well as keeping it pretty kid-friendly overall. In terms of what I would want to see in a story for a Kirby movie, I feel like you should keep things pretty simple. Maybe you can make it a tale about his origin of how he came to Popstar. How you could even adapt elements from the Japanese anime Kirby right back at you. But honestly, the story should just be a simple tale about good versus evil, using the power of friendship. I feel like that conveys enough of what the game's all about in the first place. One big thing I definitely do not want to see in the movie though, if they ever did one, was make Kirby talk. I feel like giving him a voice actor would just completely ruin what the character's all about. Kirby's at his best when he doesn't say much and just conveys what he wants through his facial emotions. I feel like that's the best way to capture him. In terms of the other characters in the franchise, Meta Knight, King Dedede, Waddle Dee, I feel like those guys, you can give them speaking roles with celebrities. But with Kirby, keep him silent protagonist, that works best. I honestly believe that Punch-Out is one of the very few examples of a video game that would work greatly in a film adaptation. For those who don't know, Punch-Out is a video game series created by Nintendo where you play as a character named Little Mac who fights a colorful roster of various enemies, and in most popular versions of the game, you even get to face off against the real Mike Tyson. Now, the reason why I say it could easily be adapted into a film is because at its core, Punch-Out is just a video game version of Rocky. So turning it into a film wouldn't really change that much about it. Hell, it's this reasoning alone that I honestly believe you could adapt this in the best way possible, both in live action and in animation. Now, how would I personally want to see it? Honestly, I want to see them attempted in live action. I mean, imagine a Punch-Out film that looks like Rocky or Creed, but has the fun and energy of a Nintendo game. I mean, get some of the more talented directors out there. Get someone like the Daniels, the ones responsible for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Imagine that film's tone and fight sequences in a film like Punch-Out, which has the template of a Rocky film. I honestly believe you have something really great. Not only a really great film adaptation of a video game, but just genuinely a really fun film that I think people of all generations can get behind. Okay, so this is probably the one that's the most likely to never happen, but who am I kidding? I would want to watch this. Call of Duty, the movie. Imagine if this happened. For those unfamiliar, which is none, Call of Duty is one of the most popular first-person shooter franchises in gaming history, and it's so widely known because of its immersive and realistic gameplay. Now imagine if we could somehow translate that into a movie. That would be pretty interesting. Now, what exactly would I want to see from a Call of Duty movie? I have no idea. That's honestly why I kind of want to see it. I would like to see Hollywood's attempt at somehow making this video game into a film while making it different from all the other types of action films or war films we see out there. From my perspective, what I would want to see is a Call of Duty movie that adapts the core essence of the game, which is its immersiveness. You know, rather than focusing on like a detailed story, because honestly, that's not really the main selling point of Call of Duty. Either doing an original story or an adaptation of one of the more popular stories like a Ghost or Call of Duty Black Ops or Modern Warfare would be sufficient enough. If I had my own take on a Call of Duty movie, I'd do it in a sort of anthology way where maybe we follow a lineage of soldiers from 3 different eras in wartime. Maybe that's the best way to adapt elements from the games that use more sci-fi aspects to the franchise, the games that cover World War II, and the ones that cover more modern affairs. That would honestly be an interesting approach. And in terms of the filmmaking, maybe you could do a first-person type of perspective, or how make it feel more intimate with the way the camera moves around the protagonist. Honestly, whatever way they can make it feel as immersive as if you are the soldier in the movie, just like how the game makes you feel immersive by being in first person, would probably be the best way to make this Call of Duty movie feel distinct. I say a Call of Duty movie should be made, not because I truly want it, more just because I want to see an attempt made by Hollywood. I want to see a Call of Duty movie. Many of the games I've mentioned have all been major home console entries, but I can't also ignore that there are a large portion of popular games on mobile. And it's not like we haven't seen mobile games become adapted into films. Angry Birds has had a movie. Hell, it's had 2. Hell, they're making a 3rd one. So honestly, maybe seeing more mobile game adaptations could be an interesting thing. Now, it's much more difficult, I think, to adapt a mobile game than it is to adapt a home console game. Mainly because these games are just meant to be fun distractions you pick up for 5 minutes and then move on with your life. They don't really have deep stories or interesting lore or interesting characters. But that makes it honestly more exciting to then adapt them. I feel like a movie provides more avenues to add more details to the worlds of these games and make them seem more lively. And a few of them I would like to see could work out pretty well if they became films. You know, speaking of Angry Birds, there's also another spin-off with the franchise that's also incredibly popular online, a game called Bad Piggies. Now, Bad Piggies is a game where you play as a pig, builds a bunch of contraptions, and goes flying around. And maybe this could be a spin-off in the Angry Birds movie franchise. This one is actually more likely than the other ones. Because after all, Angry Birds is already a successful franchise. Hell, we know they're making a third one already. So might as well make a spin-off alongside that involves around the pigs. And the pigs are pretty popular enough. So making a story about them trying to do, I don't know, something, anything, could be interesting. And honestly, I just kind of want to see more Bad Piggies love. Another popular mobile franchise that I also see tons of nostalgia for is Plants vs. Zombies. The story of it is self-entitled. It's a series of plants that fight a series of zombies. Now, honestly, I don't know how you would be able to adapt this into a movie. In fact, if I'm remembering correctly, at some point along the line, there was actually some sort of Plants vs. Zombie movie in development, but it got cancelled probably because of the reason why I think it's difficult to adapt. I mean, how do you make a story about plants versus zombies? But again, that's something I don't really want to see, but I imagine other people want it too. The game is still popular to this day, and I'm sure people would want to see it adapted into a film. The mobile franchise I would most like to see adapted into a movie is honestly Subway Surfers. For those unfamiliar, Subway Surfers is an endless runner game where essentially you get chased by a cop because you caused graffiti on the subway, and that's really it. You run, jump, collect coins, and ride on hoverboards. The story itself is basically nothing, but honestly it's the vibes of the world that I think makes it appealing enough to at least see some sort of feature film adaptation. Oh, Subway Surfers in the past actually had a bit of an animated series on YouTube, and it was a series of fun shorts that delved more into the backstories of some of the more popular characters you got to play as. And I feel like a movie adaptation could balance some of those elements into a grander scale. What I'm picturing the most is a Spider-Verse style Subway Surfers movie. I mean, imagine that if Sony Pictures made a Subway Surfers movie with the energy and animation quality of Into the Spider-Verse. I think we could actually see something really special. So yeah, I kind of just want to see a Subway Surfers movie because hey, I enjoyed the game as a kid, and I feel like the energy and the characters would be pretty cool on the big screen. Well, that wraps up all the films I wanted to talk about today. Now, there were a couple I wanted to mention, but they seem to be already in development. For example, I was going to talk about a Donkey Kong Country movie, but it seems like Illumination is actually developing one as a spin-off to the Super Mario Bros. Movie. But at least I covered the main ones I wanted to see. With that said, video game movies, once more, are really in a good spot when it comes to their movie adaptations, and I cannot wait for what the future has to bring. I'm hoping that at least one of these titles I have mentioned today at least gets some sort of love on the big screen. But whatever the case is, and whatever the film we're gonna see, hopefully they maintain the quality we've been seeing in the past few years. Because honestly, it is really great to see video game movies finally become great cinema.